Some messages do not arrive by accident. Some messages come like a warning, quiet, cold, final. At exactly 11:41 p.m., Sami's phone lit up on the table. One message. No sound of footsteps. No knock at the door. No voice calling his name. Only the blue light of the screen cutting through the darkness of his small apartment. Outside, the rain was falling hard against the windows. Thin lines of water moved down the glass, like something was trying to erase the city. The streets below were almost empty. A few cars passed slowly, their headlights blurred by the storm. Sami was sitting alone in the living room, half awake, half lost in the silence. He had not been waiting for a message. But when he saw his sister's name, his body changed before his mind understood why. Nour, his younger sister, the one who always sent long voice notes, the one who never wrote short messages unless she was angry, tired, or hiding something. Sami picked up the phone. The message was only one sentence. If I don't come back tonight, open the black box. For a moment he did not move. He read it once, then again, then a third time. The words did not change. If I don't come back tonight, open the black box. There was no emoji, no explanation, no second message coming after it. Just that sentence and the time. 11:41 p.m. Sami stared at the screen, waiting for the small typing dots to appear. Nothing. He pressed call. The line rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then it went to voicemail. He called again. This time he stood up. The rain tapped faster against the window. The phone rang until it stopped. No answer. Sami walked across the room, then back again, his hand tight around the phone. He tried to tell himself there was a simple reason. Maybe her battery was low. Maybe she was in a taxi. Maybe she had sent the message by mistake. But Nour did not make mistakes like that. Not with words. Not with fear. He called a third time. Still nothing. The room seemed smaller now. The clock on the wall moved softly, second by second, as if it was counting down to something he could not see. Sami opened their last conversation. That morning, Nour had sent him a photo of a coffee cup and a message saying she was too busy to talk. 2 days before that, she had asked if he still kept the spare key to her apartment. He had replied with a joke. She had not answered. Now that detail returned to him like a small, sharp object. The spare key. Why had she asked? He scrolled higher. Normal messages, small talk, family things, bills, reminders, her complaining about the rain, him telling her to stop walking home late. Nothing about a black box. Nothing that explained why his sister would write a sentence that sounded less like a message and more like a final instruction. Sami called again. 4th time. No answer. 5th time. No answer. On the 6th call, the phone did not ring at all. It went straight to voicemail. That was when Sami felt it. Not panic. Not yet. Something colder. A silent understanding in the chest. The kind that arrives before proof. The kind that tells you the world has already shifted, even if the room still looks the same. Something was wrong. He walked to the window and looked down at the street. The rain had turned the road black and shining. The street lights trembled in the puddles. A man crossed the pavement with his hood up, moving fast. A delivery bike passed. then disappeared around the corner. Everything outside continued. The city did not know that Nour was missing. The city did not care. Sami pressed the phone to his ear and listened to her voicemail greeting. Her voice was soft, normal, almost annoyed. "Hey, it's Nour. I can't answer right now. Leave a message." Then the beep. Sami opened his mouth, but no words came out. What was he supposed to say? Where are you? What black box? Why did you send me that? Are you safe? He ended the call without leaving a message. Then he tried texting. "Nour, answer me." He waited. No reply. He typed again. What does this mean? Still nothing. The message sat there, delivered, not read. Sami turned on the lamp near the sofa, but the warm light did not help. It only made the shadows look deeper in the corners of the room. He remembered Nour as a child hiding under the kitchen table whenever their parents argued. She never cried loudly. She always went quiet, too quiet, as if silence could make danger pass faster. Even as an adult, she was like that. When something hurt her, she smiled. When something scared her, she changed the subject. And when she wanted to protect someone, she said nothing at all. Sami looked back at the message, the black box. He whispered the words out loud, the black box. It sounded strange in his apartment. It sounded like a secret that had been waiting for him. He tried to remember if he had ever seen one at Nour's place. A storage box, a locked case, a gift box, something under her bed, something inside her closet. There had been many boxes when she moved into her apartment last year. White boxes, brown boxes, plastic containers, but black? He was not sure, and that scared him more, because the message did not say find a black box. It said open the black box, as if he should already know about it, as if Nour believed he would understand, but he did not. Sami moved quickly now. He grabbed his jacket from the chair, checked his pockets. Wallet, keys, phone. Then he stopped. The spare key. He went to the small drawer near the entrance and pulled it open. Inside were old receipts, coins, a broken charger, and a key with a small silver tag. Nour's apartment. He picked it up. The metal felt cold in his palm. Another call. 7th time. Straight to voicemail. Sami closed his eyes. He could hear the rain, the clock, his own breathing. Then, under it all, the message repeated in his mind. If I don't come back tonight, not if I don't answer, not if I disappear, if I don't come back from where? Who was she with? And why had she waited until 11:41 p.m. to tell him? Sami opened the weather app without thinking. Heavy rain until morning. Low visibility. Delays across the city. A perfect night for things to disappear. He looked at the door. For one last second, he hoped his phone would vibrate again. He hoped Nour would send another message. A correction, a joke. Anything. But the screen remained dark. No call, no reply. No sign of her. Sami put on his jacket, gripped the spare key, and stepped toward the door. He did not know what the black box was. He did not know where Nour had gone, but he knew one thing now. His sister had left him a clue, and whatever waited inside her apartment had been meant for him. At 11:58 p.m., Sami opened his door and walked into the rain, heading for Nour's apartment. Behind him, on the table, his phone lit up one more time. A new message had arrived from an unknown number. It said, "Do not open it." The rain had swallowed the city. By the time Sami reached the street, his jacket was already dark with water. The wind pushed cold drops against his face, and the sidewalks shone under the streetlights like black glass. He walked fast, but not because he knew where to look. He walked fast because stopping would mean thinking, and thinking meant hearing the message again. Do not open it. 4 words, no name, no explanation, no warning sign before it. Just a message from an unknown number, arriving seconds after Nour's last words had pulled him out of his apartment and into the night. If I don't come back tonight, open the black box. Then the second message, do not open it. 2 messages, 2 voices, one telling him to open something, one telling him not to, and between them, silence. Sami kept his phone in his hand as he moved through the rain. He checked the screen again and again, hoping for a new message from Nour. Nothing came. The city looked different at night in heavy rain. The same streets he knew became narrow and unfamiliar. Shops were closed. Metal shutters reflected blue and orange light. Cafes that were usually full of voices now sat empty behind wet glass. A taxi passed slowly, its tires cutting through the water. Sami raised his hand, then lowered it. Nour's apartment was only 15 minutes away on foot, maybe less if he kept moving. He did not want to sit still in the back seat of a car, watching the road through a window while his mind created possibilities. So he walked. Every few steps he looked behind him, not because he saw anyone following, because the message had made the city feel aware of him. Do not open it? Who knew? Who knew about the black box? Who knew he would go to Nour's apartment? Who had his number? Sami tried calling the unknown number. The call failed. He tried again. Nothing. No ringing, no voicemail, no name, no trace. He opened the message and stared at it under the rain, his thumb shaking slightly over the screen. Unknown sender. Do not open it. The words were simple, but they were not random. They had arrived too perfectly, too close to Nour's message, as if someone had been watching the same clock. At 12:13 a.m., Sami reached Nour's street. It was quieter than the others. Older buildings stood close together, their balconies dark, their windows covered with rain. A single street lamp flickered near the entrance to her building, turning the falling rain silver for 1 second, then black the next. Nour lived on the 3rd floor. Apartment 3B. Sami had been there many times. Birthdays, family dinners, quick visits when she needed help fixing something simple, and then made fun of him for taking too long. But tonight, the building looked unfamiliar, not abandoned, not damaged, just closed, like it was holding its breath. Sami stood outside the entrance for a moment. The front door was glass, with a metal handle and an old keypad beside it. The lobby light was on, weak and yellow. Behind the glass, he could see the mailboxes, the stairs, and the elevator door. Nothing moved. He typed the building code. The lock buzzed. He pulled the door open and stepped inside. The sound of the rain disappeared behind him. That was the first strange thing. Outside, the storm had filled the world with noise. Inside, there was almost nothing. No voices from apartments. No television sounds behind doors, no footsteps above him. Only the low electric hum of the hallway light. Sami wiped rain from his face and looked at the staircase. For a second he thought about calling Nour again before going up. He did. Straight to voicemail. Her voice came again. "Hey, it's Nour. I can't answer right now. Leave a message." This time he left one. "Nour, it's me. I'm at your building. I'm coming up. Please call me if you hear this." He ended the call and stood still. The message sounded weak, too normal for what he felt. He took the stairs instead of the elevator. The elevator in Nour's building was old, slow, loud. At night it always made the walls vibrate. Nour hated it. She used to say it sounded like something breathing inside the building. Sami used to laugh. Now he did not. On the first floor, the hallway was empty. On the second, a light flickered once and steadied. On the third, the silence felt heavier. The corridor outside Nour's apartment was long and narrow, with beige walls and a dark red carpet that softened every step. Usually, there was some kind of sound here. A neighbor's door closing, a child crying, a phone ringing from somewhere behind a wall. Tonight, there was nothing. Too quiet, not peaceful, controlled. Sami stopped in front of apartment 3B. The number was still slightly crooked, like it had always been. Nour had once said she liked it that way. It made the apartment look less serious. A small plant sat beside the door. Its leaves were dry. That was strange. Nour cared about small living things, plants, stray cats, people who pretended they were fine. She noticed what others ignored. The plant had always been green. Now the soil was cracked. Sami looked at it for a moment, then at the door. No scratches. No broken lock. No sign that anyone had forced their way inside. He knocked once, then again. "Nour?" His voice sounded flat in the hallway. No answer. He leaned closer to the door, listening. Nothing. No movement, no music, no water running, no phone vibrating inside. He took out the spare key. The metal felt colder than before. For a moment, Sami did not move. Using the key felt like crossing a line. Not because Nour would be angry, because it meant he had accepted that something was truly wrong. He slid the key into the lock. It turned easily, too easily. The door opened with a soft click. Sami pushed it slowly. "Nour?" The apartment was dark, except for a small lamp near the sofa. Its warm light reached across the living room, touching the edge of a coffee table, a folded blanket, and a pair of shoes placed neatly near the wall. Everything looked normal. Strangely normal. The kind of normal that feels arranged. The living room was clean. A book lay open on the sofa, face down as if Nour had left it there for a moment and planned to come back. A half-full glass of water sat on the table. Her blue mug was beside it, with the tea bag still floating inside. There was no broken furniture, no scattered clothes, no clear sign of panic. Sami stepped inside and closed the door behind him. The apartment smelled like rain, cold tea, and the lavender candle Nour always used when she wanted to sleep early. He turned on another light. The kitchen was clean. A plate sat drying beside the sink. The hallway to her bedroom was dark. Nour? Still nothing. Sami moved slowly through the apartment, looking at every small detail. Her coat was not on the hook. Her bag was not on the chair. Her keys were not in the small ceramic bowl near the entrance. That could mean she had gone out. But then why leave the lamp on? Why leave tea unfinished? Why send that message? He checked the bedroom. Empty. The bed was made. Too perfectly. Nour never made her bed at night. She always said there was no point preparing a bed you were about to destroy again. Her closet door was half open. Inside, clothes hung in quiet rows. Nothing looked missing at first glance. The bathroom was empty. The mirror had a small line of steam near the bottom, fading slowly. Sami stared at it. Steam. Someone had used hot water not long ago, but the apartment felt cold. He returned to the living room, his breathing shallow now. That was when he noticed the one detail that felt wrong. The wall clock above the bookshelf had stopped, not at a random time, 11:41, the exact minute Nour had sent the message. Sami stood beneath it, unable to look away. The second hand was frozen between two marks, thin and still. He checked his phone. 12:29 a.m. The clock had not died days ago. It had stopped tonight, at the same minute as the message. Sami whispered her name, but it came out like a question. Then his phone vibrated. He looked down quickly. No new message, only a system notification. Low battery, 10%. He turned toward the door, thinking of the charger in his jacket pocket. And then he saw it, near the entrance. Not in the middle of the floor, not where someone would place it openly. Half hidden under the edge of the doormat, there was a thin strip of black material. Sami moved closer. He crouched down. The strip was attached to something flat, pushed carefully beneath the mat, almost invisible unless the light hit it from the side. His fingers reached for it, and as he lifted the corner of the mat, he saw a small black envelope. On the front, written in Nour's handwriting, were 3 words. For Sami only. Sami stayed crouched near the door, staring at the black envelope in his hand. For several seconds, he did not open it. The apartment around him was silent, not quiet, silent. There is a difference. Quiet can be peaceful, quiet can be natural, but silence can feel placed there on purpose. The lamp in the living room gave off a warm circle of light, but it did not reach the corners. The kitchen stood behind him, clean and still. The hallway to Nour's bedroom remained dark, like a narrow mouth that refused to speak. Sami looked at the envelope again. For Sami only. Nour's handwriting, no mistake. He knew the way she wrote his name, the sharp S, the small curve at the end of the I, the slight pressure she put into the paper when she wrote fast. This was hers. And that made it worse, because it meant Nour had prepared this, not randomly, not in panic, carefully. She had hidden it under the doormat, where only someone using the spare key would find it. Someone who came inside because she had not come back. Someone like him. Sami stood slowly and locked the apartment door behind him. The click sounded too loud. He looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty, still, too still. He could see the opposite wall, the faded paint, the old light above the stairs. No movement, no shadow passing, but the feeling did not leave him. The feeling of being watched. Sami stepped away from the door and returned to the living room. He placed the envelope on the coffee table beside the unfinished tea and the glass of water. His phone battery was at 9% now. The stopped wall clock remained frozen at 11:41, the same minute as the message. The same minute everything seemed to begin. He sat on the edge of the sofa. His hands were damp from the rain, and the envelope felt dry, almost untouched. He turned it over. No seal, no stamp, no address. Only a simple fold tucked carefully inside. He could still walk out. That thought came suddenly. He could leave the envelope closed. He could call the police. He could wait downstairs under the weak lobby light and let someone else enter this silence. But then he saw Nour in his mind, not as she was tonight, missing and unreachable, but as she had been years before, standing in front of him with scraped knees, refusing to cry because she thought crying made people look away. Nour had always been afraid of being ignored. So Sami opened the envelope, slowly, carefully. Inside there were 4 things: a small photograph, a folded note, an old receipt, and a tiny key. He did not touch them at first. He only looked. The objects rested inside the black paper like evidence, not random belongings. Evidence. Sami took out the photograph first. It was small, printed on glossy paper, slightly bent at one corner. The image was dark and grainy, as if taken at night from a distance. At first he saw only shadows. Then he recognized the place. The old cinema. It stood near the edge of the city, on a street most people had stopped using after the shopping center opened nearby. The sign above the entrance had been broken for years. Half the letters were missing. The ticket window was covered with dust. Posters from forgotten films still clung to the walls behind cracked glass. Sami knew it well. He and Nour had passed by it many times when they were younger. Their father used to say the cinema was once beautiful, filled with red seats and golden lights. By the time Sami was old enough to remember it, the place was already closed. In the photograph, the old cinema entrance was visible under a weak street lamp, but that was not what made Sami lean closer. There was a figure near the door, not clear, not close enough to identify. Just a person standing under the broken sign facing the entrance, holding something in one hand. A bag or a box. Sami brought the photo closer to the lamp. The image did not give him more. The face was hidden by darkness. The object was unclear, but the place was undeniable. The old cinema. Why would Nour have a photograph of that place? And why hide it in an envelope meant only for him? Sami placed the photograph on the table. Then he unfolded the note. The paper was small, torn from a notebook. One sentence had been written in the center. If you found this, then I was right. That was all. No greeting, no explanation, no apology. Just one sentence. Sami read it again. If you found this, then I was right. Right about what? Right to be afraid? Right to hide something? Right to believe someone would come for her? His throat tightened. Nour had not disappeared into the night by accident. She had known something, or believed she knew something, and she had created steps, a message, a spare key, an envelope, a photograph, a note, the black box. Sami looked around the apartment with new eyes. The normal room did not feel normal anymore. The folded blanket, the tea, the clean kitchen, the made bed, the stopped clock, every detail seemed less like ordinary life and more like part of a scene left behind. He stood and walked to the bookshelf. Nour kept her notebooks there, mixed between novels, old magazines, and small framed pictures. He pulled one out and opened it. Blank pages. He opened another. Shopping lists, work reminders, lines from books she liked. Nothing. But now he understood something important. Nour had been investigating something. Maybe alone, maybe for weeks, maybe longer, and she had not told him. That hurt him in a way he did not expect, because Sami had always thought of himself as her safe place, the person she called when things broke, the person she trusted when the world became heavy. But whatever this was, she had hidden it from him until the last possible moment, or until she had no other choice. Sami returned to the table and picked up the receipt. It was old, folded twice, the ink faded but still readable. At the top was the name of a small convenience store near the old cinema. He knew that place too. It was one of the few shops still open late in that area. Bright lights, narrow aisles, a tired man behind the counter who never looked fully awake. The receipt showed 3 items: a bottle of water, a pack of batteries, and a small roll of tape. Sami frowned. Batteries, tape, nothing unusual by itself. But together, in this envelope, beside a photograph and a key, they felt deliberate. He checked the bottom of the receipt. The date was from 3 nights ago, and below it, the time, 11:41 p.m. Sami stopped breathing for a second. Again, 11:41. Nour's message, the wall clock, the receipt, the same minute, repeating itself like a signal. Not midnight, not 3 in the morning. 11:41, a time chosen, marked, and left behind. Sami looked at the stopped clock on the wall, then at the receipt, then at his phone. 8%. He tried to call Nour again. Straight to voicemail. He did not wait for her greeting this time. He ended the call and opened the unknown number again. "Do not open it," he typed a reply. "Who are you?" He stared at the screen. Delivered, not read. The apartment seemed to listen with him. Then he picked up the tiny key. It was smaller than a normal house key, made of dark metal, with a round head and 2 small teeth. It looked like it belonged to something private, a drawer, a lockbox, a diary, or a black box. Sami turned it between his fingers. The key was too small for any door in the apartment, too clean to be old. It had no tag, no number, no mark, but Nour had placed it inside the envelope for a reason. The message had said, "Open the black box." The unknown sender had said, "Do not open it." And now, in his hand, was a key that looked made for a small lock. Sami stood up. His eyes moved through the room again, searching. Under the table, behind the sofa, on the bookshelf, near the television. Nothing black, nothing locked, nothing that called itself a box. He moved to the kitchen, opened drawers one by one. Cutlery, napkins, receipts, old chargers. No box. He checked the cabinet beneath the sink. Cleaning bottles, plastic bags. No box. He returned to the hallway. The bedroom door was half open. Darkness waited inside. Sami turned on the hallway light. It flickered once, then steadied. He stepped closer. Nour's bedroom looked calm from where he stood. The made bed, the bedside table, the thin curtains moving slightly from air entering through a small gap in the window. He remembered the steam on the bathroom mirror. Someone had used hot water. Someone had been here recently. Maybe Nour, maybe not. He tightened his grip around the tiny key. Then something changed. A soft sound came from inside the bedroom. Not loud, not dramatic. A small, careful sound. Like wood shifting, or something being moved gently in the dark. Sami froze. The apartment returned to silence. His phone screen dimmed in his hand, the key pressed into his palm. And from inside Nour's bedroom, the sound came again. Sami did not move. He stood in the hallway with the tiny key pressed into his palm, listening to the sound that had come from Nour's bedroom. The apartment had gone silent again. No footsteps, no breathing, no voice. Only the rain outside, soft and constant, tapping against the building like fingers on glass. For a few seconds, Sami convinced himself he had imagined it. Fear can change the shape of silence. It can turn pipes into whispers. It can turn wind into movement. It can make an empty room feel occupied. But then he remembered the black envelope, the photograph, the receipt, the stopped clock. 11:41. Nour had not left him random objects. She had left him a path. And now that path seemed to lead into the bedroom. Sami looked down at his phone. 7% battery. No new calls. No message from Nour. Only the old warning remained on the screen, still open from the unknown number. Do not open it. He locked the phone and lowered it slowly. The hallway light flickered once. Then it steadied. Sami took one step forward. The floor made a quiet sound beneath his shoe. He stopped. Listened. Nothing. Another step. Then another. The bedroom door was half open, exactly as it had been before. A thin line of darkness rested between the door and the frame. The kind of darkness that does not hide everything at once, but gives just enough shape to make the mind complete the rest. Sami reached the door. He did not push it open immediately. He stood there and listened. The room beyond was calm, too calm. Then the door moved. Only slightly, a soft shift inward, then back. Sami's body tightened. For one sharp moment he thought someone was behind it. But then he felt it, cold air. A thin draft passing through the gap and touching his face. The window. He pushed the door with 2 fingers. It opened slowly. Nour's bedroom appeared in the weak hallway light. At first, nothing looked wrong. The bed was made. The blanket was pulled straight. The pillows were placed neatly, side by side. A small lamp sat on the bedside table, turned off. A book rested beside it, closed, with a pen placed carefully on top. On the wall above the desk, several photos were pinned in a clean row. Friends, family. A picture of Nour and Sami from years ago, smiling in front of the sea. Everything looked calm, clean, arranged, but not lived in. That was the part that disturbed him. Nour's room had never looked like this. She was organized in public and chaotic in private. Her desk was usually full of papers. Her chair usually carried a jacket. Her bed was usually half-made, never perfect. This room looked as if someone had prepared it for inspection, as if someone had removed the small signs of a normal life and left only the acceptable version behind. Sami stepped inside. The air was cold. The window near the curtains was slightly open. Outside, rain struck the glass in the metal frame. Wind pushed through the narrow gap, carrying the smell of wet concrete and distant traffic. The curtain moved slowly in the dark, rising and falling with a draft like it was breathing. Sami stared at it. The sound came again, a soft movement. Wood, maybe, a small scrape. He turned toward the window. There it was, he thought. The curtain, the wind, the open window. That was all. For one moment, relief almost reached him. Almost. He walked to the window and looked outside. 3 floors below, the street shone under the rain. A parked car flashed briefly as water moved across its windshield. The street lamp near the building entrance flickered again, turning the pavement silver, then dull. No one stood outside. No one looked up. Sami closed the window halfway, leaving only a small gap for air. The curtain slowed, then stopped. The room became still. He waited. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Then the sound came again. This time it did not come from the window. It came from behind him, from inside the closet. Sami turned slowly. The closet stood against the far wall, its 2 white doors closed. Nothing about it looked special. No scratches, no broken handle, no open gap. But the sound had come from there. Not loud, not dramatic, just a small shift. A small complaint from old wood. Sami looked at the closet for a long time. His first thought was simple and human. Leave. Walk out of the room. Close the apartment door. Call someone. Wait in the hallway. But another thought was stronger. Nour had hidden something, and she had hidden it here. He could feel that now. The bedroom was not just clean. It was arranged. The bed, the desk, the photos, the open window, the moving curtain. All of it felt like a scene made to pull his attention away from the closet. Sami took the photograph from his pocket and looked at it again. The old cinema, the shadowed figure, the object in the hand. Then he looked at the tiny key. It rested in his palm like a question. He moved toward the closet. Slowly. The closer he got, the quieter the apartment seemed to become. His own breathing sounded too loud. The rain became distant. Even the building seemed to stop settling. Sami reached for the closet handle, then stopped. His hand stayed in the air. He imagined opening the doors and finding someone inside. A stranger, a neighbor, someone who had been standing silently behind the white panels while he walked through the apartment. But the thought did not feel real. What felt real was worse, that Nour had expected this moment, that she had known Sami would stand here, afraid, holding a key he did not understand, that she had chosen not to explain everything, only enough to keep him moving. Sami opened the closet. The doors made a low sound as they moved. Inside there was no person, only clothes, coats, dresses, folded scarves on the upper shelf, a pair of old shoes at the bottom. For a few seconds, Sami stood there, staring into the closet, waiting for his fear to make sense. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. The closet smelled faintly of cedar wood and Nour's perfume. He exhaled. Then the sound came again, closer now. A small wooden click from the back wall of the closet. Sami moved the hanging clothes aside. Behind them was the closet's wooden back panel, painted the same pale color as the walls. At first, it looked normal. Then he saw it, a thin line, almost invisible. A rectangle cut into the back of the closet. Not a crack, not damage, a panel. Loose. Sami leaned closer. There was a small notch near the bottom, hidden behind a hanging coat. His fingers found it. The wood shifted under his touch. His chest tightened. This was not part of the closet. Someone had built this, or modified it. Carefully, quietly, he pulled. The panel resisted at first. Then it came free with a soft scrape. Behind it was darkness. A small hidden compartment. Sami stood frozen. The space was narrow, cut into the wall behind the closet. It was lined with old wood, dusty at the edges. But the center looked recently touched. Something had been placed there, something important enough to hide inside a wall. He reached in carefully. His fingers touched a hard surface. Smooth, cold, he pulled it out. A small black locked box. For a moment, Sami forgot the rain, forgot the phone, forgot the unknown message. The box was heavier than it looked. Matte black with a small metal lock on the front. No brand, no label, no decoration, just a box. The black box. For a moment, Sami forgot the rain, forgot the phone, forgot the unknown message. The box was heavier than it looked. Matte black with a small metal lock on the front. No brand, no label, no decoration, just a box. The black box. Nour had wanted him to find this. Not just the envelope. Not just the key, this. She had led him from the message to the apartment, from the apartment to the envelope, from the envelope to the closet, from the closet to the hidden compartment. Every step had been controlled, but she was not the only one watching the path. Someone else had known. Someone else had sent the warning. Do not open it. That meant the box mattered. It meant whatever was inside could harm someone's secret, or reveal why Nour had disappeared. Sami lowered the key toward the lock. It slid in perfectly, no force, no mistake, a perfect fit. He did not turn it yet. He only held it there, feeling the small resistance of the lock. The bedroom was silent again. The curtain hung still. The window was almost closed. The closet doors remained open behind him, their shadow stretching across the floor. Sami looked at the box and understood something with terrible clarity. Nour had been investigating something bigger than a private fear, bigger than a strange photograph, bigger than one late-night message. She had created a system in case she disappeared, and the person who warned him wanted that system to fail. Sami's phone vibrated. The sound was small, but in that room it felt like a knock from inside the dark. He looked at the screen. 6% battery. A new message. Unknown sender. Sami opened it. 3 words. Last chance, Sami. He stared at the message. This time the sender had used his name. The key remained inside the lock. The black box waited on the bed, and Sami had not opened it yet. Sami stared at the message until the words seemed to separate from the screen. Last chance, Sami. Not last warning. Not stop. his name. The unknown sender knew who he was. And worse than that, they knew where he was. They knew he had found the box. They knew he was sitting inside Nour's bedroom with the tiny key already inside the lock. Sami slowly lifted his eyes from the phone. The room had not changed. The bed was still made. The closet doors were still open. The loose wooden panel leaned against the wall, exposing the small hidden space behind it. The curtain moved almost nothing now, only a faint shift in the cold air from the window, but everything felt different. The silence was no longer empty. It felt occupied. Sami turned his head toward the window. Dark glass, rain, street lights bleeding through the night. He could not see anyone outside. He turned toward the bedroom door. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no voices, no movement. Still, the feeling remained. Someone was close. Someone was watching him closely enough to know the exact moment to send that message. Sami looked back at the black box. For a moment, fear pressed against him so heavily that he almost removed the key. He almost stood up, put everything back, and left. But then he thought of Nour, her message at 11:41, her handwriting on the envelope, her voice missing from every call. She had built this path for him because she believed he would follow it. And if someone was trying this hard to stop him, then the box was not dangerous because of what it could do. It was dangerous because of what it could reveal. Sami turned the key. The lock opened with a small metallic click. A quiet sound. Clean. Final. He lifted the lid. Inside, the objects were arranged carefully, each one placed with intention. A small voice recorder, several printed photographs, a folded map of the city, a USB drive, a notebook with missing pages, and a second tiny envelope. Sami did not touch anything at first. He only looked. The inside of the box felt like the center of Nour's fear. Not chaos, not panic, a hidden investigation, organized, patient, private. He picked up the voice recorder first. It was small, black, and old, with scratches along the side. A red sticker had been placed near the play button, as if Nour wanted him to start there. Sami held it in his palm. His thumb hovered over the button. Then he pressed play. Static filled the room for half a second. Then Nour's voice came through. Calm, low, close. Sami, if you are hearing this, then I failed to come back. Sami stopped breathing. The voice recorder shook slightly in his hand. Nour continued. I know you're scared, I know you're angry, and I know you're probably asking why I didn't tell you everything earlier. There was a short pause. In the silence between her words, Sami could hear something faint in the recording. Rain. A distant car. Maybe the sound of a room fan. Then Nour spoke again. I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure. At first, I thought I was imagining it. I thought I was finding meaning where there was none. You always told me I noticed too much. Maybe this time I wanted you to be right. Sami closed his eyes. Her voice was steady, too steady. The kind of calm people use when they are trying not to fall apart. I was not following a person at first, Nour said. I was following a pattern. The word entered the room like a key turning in another lock. A pattern. Not a suspect. Not a single threat. A pattern. It started with a receipt, she continued. Then a camera time stamp. then a phone log, then an old newspaper record. Different places, different years, different names, but always the same time. Sami opened his eyes. He already knew what she was about to say. Nour said it anyway. 11:41 p.m. The stopped clock on the wall seemed to grow heavier in the room. Sami looked at it. 11 to 41. Still frozen. I know how this sounds, Nour said. I know it sounds impossible, but it kept appearing. Receipts, camera timestamps, phone logs, old newspaper records, always connected to people who disappeared from the story before anyone understood what happened. Sami leaned forward, gripping the recorder. I don't know all of it yet, Nour said. I don't even know if I'm looking at one person or something that has been covered for a long time. But I know this. Someone noticed me noticing. A faint sound entered the recording. Nour inhaling slowly. I left you what I could. Not everything. I couldn't risk keeping it in one place. Start with the photographs, then the map, then the file. Do not trust the obvious answer. The recording crackled softly. Then her voice became quieter. And Sami, if someone tells you not to open the box, it means you are exactly where you need to be. The recording ended. Sami sat still. The room returned to silence. But Nour's voice remained in it, like an echo that had nowhere to go. He pressed play again, only for the last line. If someone tells you not to open the box, it means you are exactly where you need to be. He stopped the recorder. Then he picked up the photographs. There were 6 of them, all printed, all taken from a distance, all marked on the back with small numbers in Nour's handwriting. The first photo showed the old cinema entrance, the same place from the envelope, the broken sign above the doors, the cracked ticket window, the faded posters behind dirty glass. In the photograph, the street was wet. The cinema looked abandoned, but not forgotten. A place like that could hide in plain sight for years because everyone had already decided there was nothing worth seeing. The second photo showed a black car parked nearby. It was positioned across the street from the cinema, half covered by shadow. The license plate was blurred by rain and distance. The windows were dark. The car looked ordinary enough to disappear into any street. But Nour had photographed it more than once. The third photo showed the same black car from another angle, closer. Still no clear plate. Still no driver. The fourth photo showed a man standing under the broken sign. His face was hidden, not by a mask, not by anything dramatic, just angle, shadow, and bad light. He stood near the entrance, facing slightly away from the camera. One hand was inside his coat pocket. The other seemed to hold something small. A phone, a key, maybe nothing, but his posture felt familiar in a way Sami could not explain. Still, patient, as if he was waiting for someone who was late. The fifth photograph showed the convenience store near the cinema, its bright white sign, its wet glass door, its narrow windows filled with cheap snacks and phone cards. The sixth photo showed Nour's apartment building from across the street. Sami stared at it longer than the others. His sister had included her own building, not as home, as a location. As evidence, he placed the photos in a careful line on the bed. Then he unfolded the city map. It was old-fashioned, printed on paper, with creases worn into the folds. Nour had drawn across it in red pen. 3 locations were circled. Nour's apartment, the convenience store near the old cinema, the abandoned cinema, 3 points, a small triangle inside the city. Lines connected them, lightly drawn as if Nour had not wanted to press too hard. Beside the cinema, she had written one word. Again? Sami touched the red circle around the abandoned cinema. His mind tried to build the route. Nour's apartment, the store, the cinema, a pattern connected by time, by movement. By 11:41, he picked up the notebook next. It was small, with a black cover and bent corners. Many pages had been torn out, not neatly. Quickly, the remaining paper had rough edges near the spine. Sami flipped through it. Dates, initials, short phrases. Most of it made no sense yet. Check camera archive. Same plate? Ask about 2009 article. Receipt time matches. Then empty spaces where pages were missing, not blank, removed. Someone had taken pieces of the investigation. Sami turned to the last remaining page. Only one sentence was written there. If the 3rd location is real, then he knows I know. Sami read it slowly. The 3rd location. He looked at the map. Nour's apartment, the convenience store, the abandoned cinema. The cinema was the 3rd location. If the 3rd location is real, then he knows I know. He, not they, not someone, he. For the first time, Nour had pointed toward a person. Not a full answer, not a name, but a shape, a hidden man under a broken sign. A black car in the rain. A pattern built around 11:41 p.m. Sami's eyes moved to the USB drive. It was small and silver, with no label. His phone battery was at 5%. He needed another screen, another way to see what Nour had left. On the desk, Nour's old laptop sat closed beneath a stack of papers. Sami moved to it quickly and opened the lid. The screen came to life slowly. No password. That surprised him. Nour always used passwords. But tonight, the laptop opened straight to the desktop, as if she had prepared that too. Sami plugged in the USB drive. A folder appeared after a moment. Inside there was only one file, a video file. Its name was simple, 1141_final. Sami stared at it. His hand moved toward the trackpad. He could feel his pulse in his fingers. The file was there, the next step. The thing Nour had not said on the recorder. The thing she had saved for him to see. Before he clicked it, his phone vibrated again. The sound made him turn so fast the chairs shifted behind him. A new message. Unknown sender, but this time it was not text. It was a photo. Sami opened it. The image loaded slowly. Then his blood went cold. It showed him. Sitting on Nour's bed, the black box opened beside him. The photographs spread across the blanket. The map unfolded. The voice recorder near his knee. The image had been taken from behind him at an angle, from inside the room, or from somewhere just outside it. Sami turned around. The bedroom was empty. The closet was open. The window was dark. The hallway was silent. He looked back at the photo, his hand holding the USB drive. His head turned slightly toward the laptop. The image showed a moment that had happened seconds ago, not earlier, not from a security camera, not from outside the building, seconds ago. Sami looked up again, slowly. And for the first time, he understood the worst part. The unknown sender was not just watching the apartment. They were watching him now. Sami froze. The phone stayed in his hand, the photo glowing on the screen like proof that the room was not empty. Not empty in the way he understood emptiness. Not empty in the way a room should be empty. The image showed him from behind, sitting on Nour's bed. The black box opened beside him, the evidence spread across the blanket, the laptop waiting on the desk. It had been taken seconds ago. Not minutes, not hours. Seconds. Sami lifted his head slowly. The bedroom was still. The closet doors were open. The hidden compartment sat exposed behind the loose wooden panel. The curtains moved slightly near the window, but the window was almost closed. The hallway beyond the door remained dark and quiet. No person, no shadow crossing the wall, no sound of breath. Still, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. It did not feel like someone looking at him from a distance. It felt close, patient, inside the apartment. Sami stood up too quickly, and the bed shifted behind him. The black box lid moved with a small sound. He turned toward the closet first. His heart was beating hard now, but he forced himself to move slowly. He pulled the hanging clothes aside again. Coats, dresses, scarves, shoes. The hidden compartment was empty now, except for dust and faint marks where the box had rested. No one. He checked the bottom of the closet. Nothing. He pushed the clothes back, then looked behind the open doors. Nothing. The room gave him no answer. He moved to the hallway. The apartment outside the bedroom looked exactly as before. The living room lamp, the unfinished tea, the glass of water, the sofa, the stopped clock, 11:41, always 11:41. Sami checked the bathroom. Empty. The mirror was no longer carrying steam, but the surface still looked slightly blurred near the bottom. He opened the shower curtain. Nothing. He checked the kitchen. The drawers were closed. The plate still sat beside the sink. The cabinets held only ordinary things. He went to the front door and looked through the peephole. The hallway outside was empty. Beige walls, red carpet, weak light. No one waiting. No one moving away. He unlocked the door and opened it a little. The corridor held its silence. He listened. Far below, somewhere near the entrance of the building, a pipe clicked once. Then nothing. Sami closed the door and locked it again. His eyes moved to the window in the living room. He walked to it and looked down into the street. Rain crossed the glass in thin, broken lines. Cars slept along the pavement. The street lamp flickered near the building entrance. No one stood there with a phone. No one hid beneath the balconies. No face looked up, but the photo existed. And the angle was impossible. Sami opened it again. He studied the image. The position, the height, the direction. It was not from the window. The window angle would have shown his side. It was not from the hallway. The door frame would have appeared. The photo had been taken from behind him, slightly above his shoulder, as if from somewhere inside the bedroom, or from something hidden inside the bedroom. A device, a camera, a sensor, a transmitter, something small enough not to be seen. Sami returned to the room and looked at it as if he had never entered before. The bed, the desk, The shelf, the framed photographs, the lamp, the books, the wall. Every object became suspicious. Every shadow became a possible eye. He started with the desk. He lifted papers, opened drawers, checked behind the laptop. Pens, old chargers, a hair clip, sticky notes, receipts. Nothing. He checked the bedside lamp, turned it, looked under the shade. Nothing. He checked the framed photo of him and Nour by the sea. For a moment he stopped. In the picture they were younger. Nour was smiling like she had just heard a secret joke. Sami stood beside her, pretending he did not want to be photographed. He turned the frame over. Nothing behind it. He put it back carefully. Then he moved to the bookshelf near the bedroom wall. Nour had arranged small books there. Notebooks, candles, a ceramic bird, and a few decorative boxes. Sami lifted each one. Nothing. Then his fingers touched something at the back of the shelf. Something that did not belong there. Tiny. Black. Cold. It was attached behind a row of books, near the edge where the shelf met the wall. Sami pulled the books away. There it was. A small black object, no larger than a coin, fixed with a thin strip of adhesive. It had no clear lens that he could see, no light, no brand, no label, but one side was glossy, too glossy, like a surface meant to see or send or listen. Sami removed it carefully and held it under the lamp. He did not understand what it was. A camera, a sensor, a transmitter, maybe something simpler, maybe something worse. It had been placed where it could watch the bed, the closet, and the desk, exactly where he had opened the box, exactly where he had plugged in the USB drive. Sami felt anger then, a slow, quiet anger, not loud enough to erase fear, but strong enough to move through it. Someone had entered Nour's private space. Someone had hidden an eye in her room. Someone had watched him follow her clues. His phone screen dimmed. He looked down. 4% battery. The number felt like a countdown. He had very little time. He could run. He could take the box and leave. He could call for help from the hallway, from the street, from anywhere with people and light. But if he left now, the laptop might lock. The USB might disappear. The unknown sender might still have access. And Nour's only clear path might close before he understood where it led. Running away now would mean losing the only chance to understand what happened to her. Sami placed the tiny black device on the desk beside the laptop. He placed it there as if putting an accusation where it could be seen. Then he sat down. The file was still on the screen. 1141_final. He moved the cursor over it. For a second his hand hesitated. Then he opened the video. The screen went black. At first there was no image, only audio. Rain, wind, a faint mechanical hum. Then Nour's voice, not calm like the recorder. Not fully. This time she sounded controlled, but afraid. I'm recording this because I don't trust my memory anymore. A breath. If something happens, I need the timeline to stay clean. The black screen flickered. For a moment, static crossed the laptop display. Then the image appeared. Shaky footage. Night, rain. The abandoned cinema. The camera was moving from behind a wall or across the street. The image was not clear, but it was real. Wet pavement reflected the broken sign above the cinema entrance. In the corner of the video, a time stamp glowed in small white numbers. 11:41 p.m. Sami leaned closer. The black car was there, parked near the cinema. Same place as the photograph. Same angle. Same darkness around the windows. The camera shifted slightly, as if Nour had moved her hand to keep it steady. Then the shadowy man appeared beneath the broken sign. His face was hidden again, not by mistake, Sami thought. By habit. The man stood very still, his body turned away from the street. He seemed to be waiting near the entrance, one shoulder under the broken letters, the rain cutting through the light above him. Nour whispered from behind the camera. This is not the first time. The video shook. A car passed between Nour and the cinema, blocking the view for 2 seconds. When it passed, the man was still there. Nour's voice came again. I found old reports connected to this place. Same area. Same time. Different years. Some never became investigations. Some were treated like accidents. Some were treated like people leaving by choice. She paused, but the time repeats. The camera moved closer. The image changed. Now she was near the side entrance of the old cinema. A narrow metal door stood half open, covered in rust and rainwater. Inside there was darkness, but not complete darkness. Nour entered. The sound changed immediately. The rain became distant. Every step echoed. The video showed the inside of the abandoned cinema for the first time. Broken chairs, dusty floors, old posters hanging loose on the walls. No gore, no signs of violence, only neglect, only age, only a place the city had forgotten. Nour whispered again. I shouldn't be here. The camera turned down a narrow corridor. At the end of it was a wall covered with old marks, names, some written in black marker, some carved into the surface. Some faded so much they looked like shadows. Nour moved closer. The camera focused badly at first. Then the names became readable. Not all of them, only fragments. Initials, dates, short lines. Sami watched in silence. Then he saw one name, clearer than the others, fresh enough to be read. Sami El Idrissi. He stopped breathing. The video continued, but his mind stayed on the name. His own name, written inside an abandoned cinema, in a place he had not visited in years, in the middle of Nour's investigation. Sami whispered, no, but the laptop did not answer. The camera in the video moved closer to the wall. Nour's breathing became faster. I don't understand why his name is here, she whispered. He has nothing to do with this. Sami stared at the screen. His body felt cold now, not from the rain, not from the window, from recognition without memory. A name is not just a word. A name means someone knew you. Someone chose you. Someone placed you in a story before you knew you were inside it. The video flickered. Nour turned suddenly, as if she had heard something behind her. The camera moved fast, pointing at the floor, then the wall, then the broken seats. A low digital crackle filled the speakers. The image glitched. Black lines crossed the screen. Sami leaned closer, trying to see. Nour's voice broke through the distortion. There's someone? The laptop screen froze. Then it turned black. Sami clicked the trackpad. Nothing. The video window disappeared. For 3 seconds, the desktop was empty except for the USB folder. Then a new file appeared by itself. It appeared on the desktop without warning. No download bar, no pop-up, no permission. Just a new file sitting there in front of him. Its name was written in capital letters, come_alone. Sami did not touch the mouse. He stared at the file, then at the tiny black device on the desk, then at the laptop camera above the screen. Someone had access. Not yesterday, not earlier, now. Someone was inside Nour's laptop in real time, and they had just answered him. Sami stared at the new file on Nour's laptop, come_alone. The words sat in the center of the desktop like they had always been there, but he knew they had not. Seconds ago, the screen had been empty. Seconds ago, he had been watching Nour's video inside the abandoned cinema. Seconds ago, he had seen his own name written on a wall that should have had nothing to do with him. Sami El Idrissi. The letters were still burning in his mind. He looked at the laptop, then at the tiny black device he had pulled from behind the shelf, then at the dark camera lens above the screen. The room was quiet, but it no longer felt like Nour's bedroom. It felt like a place being used, a place with invisible doors, a place where someone could enter without touching the lock. His phone vibrated weakly in his hand. 3% battery. Sami looked at it, then at the file again. He did not want to open it. Every step tonight had taken something from him. The message, the envelope, the box, the video, and now this. But not opening it felt worse, because whoever was behind the screen already knew where he was, already knew what he had found, already knew his name. Sami moved the cursor slowly. His finger hovered over the trackpad. He waited for something to happen, a message, a sound, a sign that he should stop. Nothing came. So he opened the file. The screen turned black. No video, no audio, no image. Only one line of white text appeared in the center. Third location, 1241. Sami leaned closer. The words were simple, too simple. Third location, 12 to 41. He looked back at the map spread across the bed. Nour's apartment, the convenience store near the old cinema. The abandoned cinema, 3 red circles, 3 points. The third location was the cinema. There was no doubt. Sami picked up the map and brought it closer to the laptop light. Now he saw something he had missed before. The circle around the abandoned cinema was darker than the others, pressed harder, drawn over again and again until the paper had almost torn beneath the red ink. Nour had not marked it like a location. She had marked it like an answer she was afraid to believe. Sami looked at the time on the laptop, 12:37 a.m. 4 minutes. The pattern had changed, 11 to 41. Now 12:41. A new hour. A new instruction. A new stage. Sami turned back to the black box. There was still one object he had not opened, the second tiny envelope. It was smaller than the first, folded tightly, with no name on the front. The paper was thin, almost soft from being handled too many times. Sami opened it carefully. Inside he found 3 things. A small paper with a number sequence, a torn corner of a photograph, and a locker ticket. He took the small paper first. The numbers were written by hand. 11 to 41, 11 to 41, 11 to 41, 12 to 41. Below them, Nour had written one short line. Pattern changed after I got too close. Sami read the numbers again. It was no longer just a repeated time. It was moving. Or someone was moving it. He picked up the torn photo corner. Only part of an image remained. It showed the side of a man's dark coat. Nothing else of his body. No face. No background clear enough to identify. But his hand was visible. And on one finger there was a ring. A simple ring, silver or pale gold. The image was too small to know more. Still, Nour had kept it. That meant the ring mattered. Sami placed it beside the photographs from the cinema. Then he examined the locker ticket. It was old paper, slightly bent. The ticket was printed with a number and the name of a storage facility near the old cinema. Not inside the cinema. Not far from it. Near it. A place with small rented lockers. A place people used when they wanted to keep things away from home. The ticket number had been circled. Nour had expected him to reach this point. The thought came clearly now. She had planned the order. Recorder first, photos, map, notebook, USB. Then the second envelope. She had left him evidence in layers, not because she wanted to confuse him, but because she was afraid the wrong person would find everything at once. Sami looked at the laptop screen again. Third location, 1241. A meeting, a threat, a trap, maybe all three. He grabbed his phone and dialed emergency services. The call screen opened. The number began connecting. For 1 second, hope entered the room. Then the screen went black. The phone died before the call connected. Sami pressed the power button. Nothing. He pressed it again. Nothing. The apartment seemed to grow colder. Then the laptop camera light turned on, only for 1 second. A small green light above the screen, bright, quiet, watching. Sami moved fast. He grabbed the roll of tape from Nour's desk, tore off a piece, and pressed it firmly over the laptop camera. The green light disappeared under the tape. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a new line appeared beneath the first one on the black screen. Too late. Sami stepped back. The words did not blink. They did not move. They just stayed there, calm, certain, like the person behind them had already expected every decision he would make. Sami wanted to run. His body wanted the door, the stairs, the street, people, light, distance. But he forced himself to stop. Running blindly was what the message wanted. Fear makes people careless. Nour had not been careless. If he was going to leave, he had to leave with proof. He took the laptop and created a folder on the desktop. His hands moved quickly, but not without thought. He copied the video file from the USB. He copied the strange come_alone file. He took screenshots of the black screen and the message too late. Then he used the laptop camera app only long enough to capture images of the evidence laid across the desk before keeping the tape over the lens again. The photographs, the map, the notebook page, the torn photo corner, the locker ticket, the number sequence. He saved everything. Then he shut the laptop halfway, not fully closed, and removed the USB drive. He collected what he could carry. The USB drive, the tiny key, the folded map, the locker ticket, the torn photo corner, the number sequence. He left the voice recorder and the black box inside the closet compartment for now, hidden behind the panel again. If someone came looking, they might think the most important thing had stayed behind, but the path had moved with him. Sami put the evidence into his jacket pocket. Then he turned once more toward Nour's room, the bed, the desk, the shelf, the covered camera, the open closet. This was no longer just his sister's apartment. It was the place where her secret had become his. He walked to the front door. Before leaving, he looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. He opened the door slowly. No one waited outside. No one stood at the stairs. The building was quiet in a way that felt almost staged. Sami stepped out and locked the apartment behind him. The key turned softly. He went down the stairs, not using the elevator. On the second floor, he stopped and listened. Nothing. On the first floor, a light flickered above him. Still nothing. In the lobby, the rain sounded louder now, hitting the glass entrance like static. Sami opened the door and stepped back into the city. The night was colder than before. Rain struck his face and ran down his neck, but he barely felt it. The street was nearly empty. The pavement reflected the lamps. Far away, a siren moved through another part of the city, too distant to belong to him. He checked the time on a pharmacy sign across the street. 12:40 a.m. 1 minute. Sami began walking toward the abandoned cinema. He kept close to the buildings, moving under balconies when he could, avoiding the open center of the sidewalk. He watched reflections in windows. He looked behind him without turning too quickly. The city had become a series of dark surfaces, glass, water, metal. Eyes could be anywhere. He reached the end of Nour's street and stopped. There, parked beneath a weak street lamp, was a black car. The same shape, the same dark windows, the same quiet presence from Nour's photographs. It was parked at the end of the street, facing him. At first, it did not move. No engine sound, no open door, no figure inside that he could see. Just the car, waiting. Sami stood in the rain, one hand closing around the USB drive in his pocket. He thought of the old cinema, the wall of names, his own name written there. Then the black car's headlights turned on. White light spread across the wet street, and Sami understood. The car had not followed him. It had been waiting for him.